What your favorite fictional character says about you. The psychology of character attachment. Hi, I'm Lara. I'm a translator and bookworm, and I'm here to help you live your most magical life through books. So let's discuss, why are we so obsessed with certain fictional characters? You see it all over book talk, bookstagram, all over the media. The society of today is so obsessed with particular characters. Think Rhysand, think Xaden Riorson, Nesta, Selena Sardothian. We're obsessed with them, and it's not random. So let's discuss. Well, first off, fictional characters show us key traits that we've repressed in ourselves. Think Carl Jung and his theory of the shadow self, where we repress traits in childhood that we feel would make us unsafe or that would risk social exclusion for us. And as humans, we are wired to desire social inclusion and acceptance because if we were shunned from the tribe back in our caveman days, that would mean certain death for us, and we can't have that. So we're wired to seek social acceptance. So as a child, if you ever felt that it wasn't safe for you to stand up for yourself or to set boundaries or to take up space, regardless what the behavior is, but if you ever felt that you were too aggressive for it or you were too much or you were difficult as a child, then you probably repressed it because it wasn't safe for you. So whenever you come across a fictional or real character who embodies these traits for you, think the sassy, stabby female main character like Selena Sardothian, like Nesta, like any of the other famous romanticy, stabby female main characters. When you come across them, you're gonna be drawn to them so much because this is what you could be if you hadn't been conditioned to repress yourself. And it's not just for warrior characters, it also applies to the magical chosen one archetype. If you're constantly drawn to the characters who suddenly discover that they're the magical chosen one and they have remarkable magic abilities and gifts, then you probably had to repress those gifts or magic within yourself as a child. Usually, whenever we feel threatened by another person's light, we try to dim them and to cut them down. This is tall poppy syndrome, and this is what usually happens whenever a society encounters a remarkable person with remarkable potential and gifts and talents. So that probably happened to you as a child. Maybe you were a great artist, or you had a really big personality, or a gift for science. I don't know what your particular gift was. You can find that out for yourself, but you were probably told that you were too much and that it was threatening other people. And so you shrank yourself down. And you find yourself now drawn to these characters again and again because through them you can live vicariously and you can explore your gifts where it's safe, because within pages, nobody can come for you if you shine too brightly. All right, let's talk about shadow daddies and why we're so obsessed with them. Think Rhysand or Kaz or Hunt Athlar or any of the broody, complex, shady main male characters that we fall head over heels for in romantasy. We don't just simp over them for fun. I mean, it's fun, but it's not just for that. There's psychology behind it. Enter Horton and Wall. I might be obliterating their names, but bear with me. They talk about parasocial relationships, where we form strong emotional one sided bonds with fictional characters or with celebrities because it's a way for us to meet our unmet needs that's also safe. Because if we're doing it in our heads, then we probably won't be hurt or exposed. And usually, these broody male characters, the shadow daddies, they provide us with a way to meet our unmet needs that we didn't usually get in our lives, like, for example, safety or unconditional love or unconditional acceptance. Because these males are usually very powerful and they're usually very damaged themselves, they can hold space for your perceived flaws or damage or scars that an otherwise normal or pure male wouldn't be able to. These characters are usually very powerful and very destructive, but they only soften up and open up for their love interest. This mirrors how we crave that feeling of unconditional love, and The feeling of being the only one that someone opens up for, the only person that can save them. And here we can't ignore this savior complex that we might feel, the I can fix him syndrome. Because these characters are usually very wounded and very damaged, and they have a very dark, traumatic past. And yet, the main character always saves them and rescues them from their darkness. This might show you where in your life you had to play the role of the caretaker or the peacekeeper or any other role where you had to manage another person's emotions and reality in order to stay safe. So ask yourself where you had to play that role and why you're still seeking it out, even in fictional dynamics. Last but not least, our favorite characters don't just show us our repressed traits or unmet needs, they also show us something called the golden shadow, or in other words, our best selves, or the perfect life that we could live if we weren't so bogged down by fear and trauma. Psychologists Green and Brock talk about the narrative transportation theory, which is basically discussing that when we're reading a story, we're not just watching it unfold, we're actually experiencing it on a visceral level. And the characters that we attach to often show us our idealized lives that we could have if only we weren't so traumatized. For example, if you're obsessed with the adventure driven characters like Vin and Leela Bard, then maybe you crave an adventure packed life filled with freedom and breaking the rules and spontaneity, but maybe your real life responsibilities hold you back and don't allow you to do that. Or maybe you're constantly drawn to the intellectual and strategic thinker. And this shows you that maybe ideally you would be a planner like that and a strategist, but maybe society has told you that you're too much, or who do you think you are, or stop being a smartass. Or if you're constantly drawn to the chosen one archetype, then maybe you feel like your life is lacking in purpose or meaning, and that you could be living a great life destined for trailblazing and grand purposes, not the mediocre existence you currently live. I'm sorry to call you out, but this applies to all of us. The point is that while reading is really fun and it's a great way to escape our dull reality, maybe we can actually use reading to create a new reality, to become these characters that we read about and we obsess over, to find that real life great love that rivals the one we read about. We don't have to just read about these experiences. If we listen to our intuition and actually ask questions about why are we so obsessed with these books, then maybe, just maybe, we can also get to create real life epic tales for ourselves.